When a guy says to the national public, I haven't eaten or slept in 2 days, I think you're going to be concerned. When a guy tells the world...
It's not like he got a bunch of fat stored up either.
Right.
Right. He can't afford
Right.
to
Can't be hibernating.
Yeah, man, he could slip down the drain.
When KD tells the world that shortly after picking the Warriors, he had something of a panic attack, called his business manager, Rich Kleinman, and said, why did you let me bleep up my life? When Durant tells the world he has multiple ghost social media accounts to engage in it, not to engage in debates with like other players or established members of the media, but just random anonymous kids on the internet. When Kevin Durant is posting YouTube comments trying to be like, I'm Kevin Durant and I'm just like you.
Okay, well.
Which is what it was. Hey, I have acne and I drink beer and I play Xbox. He is grasping for something that, despite all of his success, despite the fact that if he never played another basketball game in his life, he's one of the 25 best to ever do it. Despite the fact that he's an MVP and now a finals MVP and now a champion, there is something that is still eluding him. Yeah, that's concerning.
I could see why you would be concerned, but, you know, to me, he's still at, say, that critical juncture in his career and in his life. I don't want to, but I have to bring LeBron into this because LeBron, I've been a resident of South Florida for a long time. So when LeBron came to South Florida, and then also knowing LeBron and people close to him, that LeBron thought he was making the best decision. But he ended up having some regrets in going to Miami. Maybe the way the decision was depicted, that, and then also he became a villain. But he tried to embrace being a villain, and then after losing against Dallas, he realized, you know something? I'm not that guy. I'm going to go back to being the LeBron that I know. Like, I don't care if people hate me, but I'm not going to try to use that as fuel. And it turned him into the person that we have seen these last number of years on and off the court, which I believe is the best of LeBron. So for me, I'm concerned, but I want to see where KD goes from here, because it's not a number, a figure, but there is a thing in life that people seek. It's called happiness. And it doesn't seem like KD, with all the things that he decided he wants to do, he's playing the game that he's always loved to play. Like, I'm wondering, where does this take him? Like, when is he going to ever be happy?
If not after this season, if not after this, the pinnacle of his career. Go ahead.
So let's talk about the news that now maybe his organization is actually a little bit concerned about him. My feeling is, let's see what happens the first day he steps on the court to start practicing with the team. Because we've seen in the NBA other guys who've had off-the-court things, distractions, odd life directions, Dennis Rodman, Allen Iverson, like, they let them have their crazy offseason, whatever you want to call it, because they all came and they showed up and they performed. Do you think we're going to be talking about this if he comes in, he's the same exact Kevin Durant that we've seen last year? Or should we be so concerned that
No, he's going to be, right now, if I had to bet on someone to win MVP for the season, I'd bet on Durant. Like, we all know LeBron should be the guy that wins it, but LeBron doesn't win him anymore. I would bet on Durant. I think Durant's going to be awesome.
So what bothers you so much about this?
Because there is, the concern is, Chris brought up LeBron. LeBron's first year ended with his lowest basketball point ever, and he responded positively. It followed up by his best basketball moment ever. Kevin Durant's first season ended with the new team with his highest basketball moment ever, and he responded negatively. That's concerning about Durant, the guy. And that's concerning about whether or not this type of whatever tortured soul he's dealing with, and not to overstate it, how sustainable that is. We have seen so many things this summer that were potential. That's curious. And I hate to harp on it, but the cupcake shoes followed up by the internet comment shoes, those were, what do we make of that? But then when it's followed up by, oh yeah, and I defend myself on the internet anonymously, then it's like, okay, it snaps into focus. You are the one second guessing your decision. You are the one wondering if you, to quote yourself, effed up your life. You are the one that is still not at peace despite all the success. And that's why the court for him does not appear to be a sanctuary, because he's not going to be better than he was last year. And you're not going to get the feeling of the first championship again. And that wasn't enough to make him at peace.
The reason why you'd be concerned is because this is a special part of basketball history for Golden State. I mean, they have a rare opportunity. I mean, they could win 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6. Like, they could win a number of championships. And this organization, how it's run, the men who own it, there's not a whole bunch of visibility around them. There's not a whole bunch of noise coming out of Golden State. They got a great locker room. They got one guy that takes some maintenance. That's Draymond. Right. All right? And Coach Kerr, he handles that, and the organization has handled a number of Draymond issues. They did not think this was the Kevin Durant that they were getting. So also, let's not forget, in some of the things that are alarming, he also criticized Steph Curry.
Yeah, so nobody buys Under Armours.
Yeah, like, I mean, those things just aren't necessary. They're not an organization that wants that type of attention. And this is a special time in basketball for Golden State, and they should be taking advantage of it. That would be my concern.
And the other thing, sometimes with pro athletes, we do a weird thing where we treat them as adults when they're still kids and kids when they're adults. Like there's 21-year-old NBA players that have been in the league 3 years, and we're acting like they're not still 21 years old.
Right.
But Kevin Durant turns 29 next week. Now, 29 ain't 50, but at 29, I was married with 3 kids. You were married with 2 kids.
Yeah.
At 29, you're closer to being a fully formed adult than you are kid. And
in most professions, that wouldn't even be a question, except professional athletes.
Right. Yes. I mean, in most there is no.
Like in tennis, you're retired 8 years.
Sure,
already,
but there is as far as take the athletic part out of it. Like, I'm not talking about the length of your career. Just we have people that work with us that we rely on for this television show every day that are right around that age, and none of them would get away with if they. And he didn't screw up at work. I get that. The excuse of he's just a kid. Like, no. Like, you're grown now. Yeah. Like, you're about to figure out how to apply for a mortgage and get your debt in order and your credit. Like, this is, and so it is weird. And weird is the best way to put it, to see KD engaging in the type of stuff that you would expect to see from, like, the top recruit. Like a guy that's, going on, oh, yeah, I'm going to argue with you on the internet. Yeah, I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to take shots at people that I really don't want to take shots at. Like in those tweets where he took a shot, not just at his teammates, not just at Billy Donovan, but the Oklahoma City organization, an organization that coddled him and protected him, and maybe that's the other thing that we are not analyzing enough. Cece, when KD was in Oklahoma City, when they succeeded, it was Durant's credit, and when they failed, it was Russ's fault.
Yes.
He got criticized once, Jenna. I don't know if you remember this. Years ago in a playoff series, the Oklahoman local newspaper called him Mr. Unreliable, and they printed an apology the next day. That was his environment. Everyone hated LeBron, so everyone loved him. So maybe he just wasn't equipped for what he's had to deal with the last 11 months.
Well, when he went to Texas, he was only there briefly, and they definitely protected him, because I've talked to one of the coaches that was there with him. We know what happened in OKC, And now Golden State, they didn't know what they were inheriting, and this is what they're getting.
And I don't think they thought they had to protect him. Hey, we got the second best player in the world. We're going to win the title. It'll all be good.
Well, if this is how he's been reacting, coming off an MVP season where they won the championship, and we didn't like what people were saying about him.
Imagine when LeBron beats him this year.
Okay, well, that's not exactly where I was going.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from some of our other great shows on FS1.